Hello my friends, it's another wonderful day in the Philippines. Hey, in this video I have come up with some ideas on how you could come up with your own budget that would suit your own lifestyle in Baguio. So I've started out with a basic budget that I've come up with, which could be mine, and then what you would do is you would figure out how many times you want to go out, how much coffee you want to drink, and then you can add that to your own budget. So when you come here, you'll pretty much know what your lifestyle would be like before you leave America. Anyway, check it out. How many times looking back have you said, oh, if I could only do it all over again? I get to do that every day. And I mean a complete redo, not just a repeat. I think if you choose to live the upscale life in the city or you choose to live in the province, you have a lot of choices to make. I think that regardless of where you're going to live, the idea is to be happy with your choice. You know, location, lifestyle has a lot to do with figuring it out before you get here. So hopefully in this video, you'll have some tools to help you decide ahead of time. Maybe how to do some research, how to put together a reliable budget, those kinds of things. I've been here almost 3 years, and I can see where I'm at, thinking back to what I set out to do before I got here, what my lifestyle would be like, location, etc. Then having gone back to America and hung out in a pretty upscale area, and now back in the Philippines, I've been thinking about the decisions that I've made and how could I have made better decisions to begin with. I remember when I was in 8th grade, there was a class we went to and we were supposed to figure out what our career was going to be when we grew up. I was in 8th grade. I'd never even lived on my own at that point. How would I know what I wanted to do? Okay, so I wanted to be a rock star and be a world champion auto racer. Okay, well, that didn't happen. Anyway, coming to the Philippines can be kind of the same thing. You're expected to know what you want to do, what your lifestyle is going to be like before you get here. How are you going to know how to budget and not get in over your head? In this video, I think I've come up with some ideas on how I would have done it differently. Now, some of these ideas you might find helpful in your transition. Now, there's two things that 90% of the questions I get about where people are having trouble or where they made mistakes was the location and the lifestyle they chose. So in this video, I've gone over the ideas that I have that will help you possibly keep your do-overs to a minimum. What I would do is get a little notepad, and at the top I would write lifestyle, for example. And then I would put down my daily routine. For example, in San Diego, I would wake up, I would have some coffee, I'd watch the news, I'd go for a walk down to the beach, then I'd come back, I'd go to the gym, somewhere around lunchtime by then, etc., etc. With this information, you can start to put together a basic budget to begin with to replicate your lifestyle when you're here. Now, that would give you a basic budget to start out with. Now, I just checked out Facebook Marketplace, and I found about 5 different places around average price of, let's say, 15,000 pesos a month furnished. Now, what you might do is, the low was 12 and the high was 20, is go with 18 to 20. That way, it gives you more options. Now, your internet and cable TV is probably going to run you anywhere from 1,500 pesos to 2,000 a month, depending on a plan, how many channels you want to get, and that type of thing. For electric, I would budget about 3,500 to 4,000 a month, depending upon how much aircon you need. And in Baguio, I need a heater. Yes, folks, you heard that right. It does get cold there, especially in the evening. For water, I would plug in about 600 pesos, and that would include your regular water if it's not included in your rent, plus your bottled water. Now, the gym that I went to was there on sessions, and it's probably a little more on the pricey side, but it was about 2,500 pesos a month. Your next biggest item really is going to be your food. Now, I would refer back to the realistic budget of $600 a month that I put out, and you can look at the public market, the prices there, that type of thing, the price of pork, chicken, it's all still pretty much the same. The prices in Baguio and the prices in English City, Porac, are going to be very, very similar. Now, maybe different in Manila, it will be more expensive in Cebu, and it was more expensive in Dumaguete when I was there. So what you see is the actual prices that were being paid and charged when I was doing the shopping there. Now, Baguio also has a pure gold and also has a hypermarket. So those prices that you'll see in that $600 a month budget are still relatively the same as you would find at the hypermarket or the pure gold in Porac Angeles City, etc. I'll take a jeepney from where I live down to the public market. Pretty much all the jeepneys everywhere in Baguio end up down by the public market. So that would cost about 13 pesos one way and about 13 pesos home on average. Now, if I'm down there and I make a lot of large purchases that's too big, too heavy to carry in the jeepney, I can always take a taxi. A taxi is going to run about 140 to 160 pesos. Now, I live completely on the opposite side of Baguio, so that should cover most any place that you would live in Baguio. So if you're going to shop mostly at the public market, my budget runs between $6 and $10 a day. At Pure Gold, it's probably going to run $8 to $12 a day because I'm also going to be picking up soap or other things that I may need. Now then there's the hypermarket, and that's going to be anywhere from $10 to $18 a day, depending, because they have a lot of imported products, which is going to cost you more. In my case, I'm usually at the public market, say 20 days a month. Maybe Pure Gold, I'm there like 6 days a month, and hypermarket maybe 4. That's going to be about $350 a month. Now, I'm pretty sure your budget would be different because you would spend different days at public market, different days at hypermarket, and so on. So my basic budget in Baguio with phone, Visa, and $325 a month in rent would be $850. Now, the most recent statistic I've seen for average Social Security income from America is $1,850 a month. So if your basic budget was like mine, you could deduct that from your Social Security. It would leave you around $1,000 a month. So at this point, basically, we've come up with a budget that would duplicate your American lifestyle if you lived in Baguio. So now comes the fun part. I would make a list of the lifestyle changes that I would like. So that might include, say, dinner out 4 days a week, Starbucks 5 days a week, those kinds of things. Now, you can go online and you can look up Philippine prices for pretty much anything. McDonald's, Starbucks, Max's Restaurant, Subway, on and on and on. So let's say in Baguio, your basic budget is 850 pesos a month. Let's say your average Social Security income is 1,850 a month. That's going to leave you with 1,000 left over. So in your reviewing of menus and different things, you can see what the average price would be and pick a price, and you can figure out the typical drink that you would want at Starbucks and pick that price. Also, you could look at restaurant reviews in the Baguio area and check out their menus. Again, you could develop a cost of dinner out that you might want to do however many times a week. Now that you've got the price of the meal, the price of the drink, you can multiply that on out and add it to your budget. Now, in my case, I don't particularly care for Filipino food, so I cook my own. So my budget's kind of small. Eating out is not a big deal to me. I've done it all my life. I've worked in restaurants, etc., etc. But I am passionate about traveling. So what am I going to do? I'm going to pick a location. I'm going to look for a couple resorts or hotels or those kinds of things there. How many days I'm going to stay. Then I can look up my bus fare to the airport, and from the airport to where I'm going, and from where I'm going to the hotel or resort that I'm staying at. Now, in my case, I'm going to come up with a total. Let's call it $400, just for the sake of having a number. Okay, now I know I have 1,000 left over my budget. 400's easy. I also know I can do that $400 a month every single month. Now, you're going to have your own priorities. Could be saving money, could be insurance, could be all of the above. So let's say that comes up to $300, or let's say that comes up to another $400 a month. So you've got your basic budget, call it $850. You've got 1,000 left over. You spend $400 on traveling and $400 on insurance and putting money away. It's going to leave you with a couple of extra $100, which could be your dinners out, could be your coffees, etc. Now, regardless of your income, you'll be developing your own lifestyle. But this should give you enough information to estimate approximately within a ballpark of how your lifestyle could be if you come, and then you can make your decision of whether you want to come or not, whether you want to be here. Do you want a condo in BGC? Do you want to live in a medium city like Dumaguete or Baguio, or would you rather live in the province? These are all choices that you'll be able to make, but you need to start somewhere. With a little bit of effort up front, you could save yourself a lot of trial and error. If you've enjoyed the video, found it educational, entertaining, or interesting, please like and subscribe.